What is up, guys? This is MaxCov4, and today I'll be giving you guys a guide on German artillery. We'll be starting with the mortars, working our way up to the actual artillery pieces, and then moving on with the rocket artillery at the end. So if you guys need to skip around to the different sections, go ahead and do so below, but let's go ahead and hop right into it. So first off, we have the 8cm SGRW-34. It's the standard medium mortar for the German army. So this bad boy was produced from 1934 to 1945. About 75,000 of these were made. Pretty insane, right? So more into gates of hell. This thing has a range of 160, which is pretty good. Basic loadout is 30 HE high explosives and 10 smokes for the early version, and then later on it just drops smokes and gets a total of 40 high explosive. So this thing is pretty good. It has a reload of 5 seconds, so you can very quickly get rounds on the point, and as you can see, it starts to narrow in. Very effective weapon to use for your direct infantry support. So if you want to carry something that's light right up behind your infantry and be supporting them as they take position like this, while they're setting up a support by fire, this can be a great thing to use. I honestly like the 81mm mortar. It's very cheap and it's nice and light to use, so very good mortar to use. I would recommend using it. Next, moving up with the 10cm. This is kind of Germans trying to bridge the gap between light and medium artillery, but it didn't work out that great. So 10cm NBW 35 mortar. So this thing has a reload of 6 seconds. It's produced from 34 to 45, just like the 8cm, about 6,000 per produce. It carries a load of 25 HE and 10 smoke, so great for laying down some smoke. And it has a little bit further range. It has a range of 180, so it can reach out and touch a little bit further. But as you can see, that spread is going to be pretty far. That's the only bad issue about using mortars at range. Actually, that was pretty almost dead on, but as you can see, it's got a high variable range I can be hitting. It was used pretty early by the German army, but it's a decent little mortar. I still go more towards the 8cm, but that's just me. Next, moving up to the 12cm SGRW-42 mortar. This thing can actually be towed by light vehicles like the Kettenkrad. Fun fact. So this thing was produced from 43 to 45, a little bit later mortar. They actually studied the Soviet mortar when they captured the 120 that the Soviets used, and they actually copied it a little bit and designed their own and ended up making a great mortar. So this thing has a range of 230, pretty far range, being able to outrange most all vehicles. Yeah, being able to outrange all direct fire vehicles, so that's pretty cool. Man, that was pretty inaccurate, that first shot. It had to reload a little bit longer, as you can see. This one is 8 seconds, but it only carries 20 HE, or just over 20 HE. So just be aware of that. Got a lot more power though, a lot more oomph in it. Good for saturating an area that you're going to be attacking a little bit further out. Not a bad mortar. I just suggest the 8cm and the 12cm. All right. Now we're moving up to the 20cm. So this thing is 20cm LELDGW. So this is actually a World War I mortar. I don't know if you guys know much about that, but this thing, as you can see, zoom in, look like the newer mortars, and this is like an older mortar. So this thing is what they used back in the World War I. It's only got a range of about 200 meters. It was built from 1916 to 18, and I think several thousand of them were built. But it is a pretty short range weapon. As you can see, it's only got 160, but it's got a pretty big round. Pretty effective little round, but it takes about 8 seconds, same as the 12cm. But it's not the most effective unless you're using this on urban maps. Urban maps, this thing can be quite effective at killing large amounts of infantry, but otherwise I wouldn't recommend using it. It was actually used mainly in urban scenarios because it's not the most mobile mortar. It's pretty heavy for a mortar, and it was only mainly used in like the battles of Stalingrad, Berlin, in big sieges or urban battles that the Germans had. They used it. Pretty cool little thing though. Now we're moving on to the 60cm Karl, 60cm Girat. So this thing is like 600 centimeters or 600 millimeters, 660 centimeters. Has 3 of its normal rounds. It has a little bit bigger round too, I think. So the range on this thing is only gonna be, let's range it out. Let's range it out. Not sure the exact range on this. Looks like it's gonna be 275. 275, but you can see the power that this thing has. It's gonna be a 90-second reload roughly. It's gonna take forever. But as you can see, we just obliterated anything around there. So say if I were to fire this at a defensive position like this, everything in that defensive position would be eliminated. Now this thing has to be fairly close, as you can see, but it is a highly effective weapon for mainly for killing enemy morale, killing entire enemy squads, or any vehicles in the area are going to be obliterated as well. Only 7 of these bad boys were made, and it's the biggest self-propelled vehicle that's ever really been used. As you can see, it has tracks. Only 7 were produced, only 6 really made it to the actual combat line. They're using 40 for 42. They use Siege as Sevastopol. I'm not sure if I said that right, but close enough. And the Warsaw Uprising, when the Polish tried to uprise, they kind of got nuked by this thing. I like to call it a little tactical nuke. Pretty cool, but that wraps up the mortars. Now we're going to move on to the actual field guns and howitzers. So first up we have is actually recoilless rifle. This is 7.5 centimeter GR 38 HL. Let's see. But as you can see, this thing has a variety of ammo. So it carries about 25 HE, 9 armor piercing, and 16 heat. So this thing can actually get through about like 50 millimeters of armor. Has a range of 160. And this thing was actually built for the airborne units. As you can see how light it is. Oh, shoot, it went through. You can see how light this bad boy is. Only 450 to 500 were produced. And it was first used in the Battle of Crete. If you guys know much about the World War II history. I don't know why these guys are just reloading constantly. But yeah, range 160. First used in Crete, and it was used by the airborne units and used during Operation during Case Blue. It was used by the German mountain infantry as well in the Caucasus Mountains. So pretty cool little facts. Carries AP 8 and heat. It's not going to be able to kill anything much past light vehicles, but it is light, and infantry can move it pretty easily. You can move it with small vehicles as well, but see how quickly this thing moves. You can easily reposition it. It was ideal for airborne units since it can be paired dropped. Pretty cool little weapon though. I wouldn't use it unless it's in like an urban scenario, or if I mean, it's available in early war doctrine and conquest. You could use it if you're trying to do Fallschirmjägers. All right, so the 7.5 centimeter League. So first off, we have is the early version, the 7.5 centimeter. I'm not gonna say the whole name, but the later version has a range of 160. I believe this one is the same. Just gonna verify that real quick. Yeah, 160. So as you can see, this one's going to carry about 40 high explosive and 10 heat, same as the other one. These both carry the same amount. But one cool thing about this one, this is the early version. So about 11,000, somewhere between 11,000 and 12,000 of these bad boys were produced, mainly of this version, from 32 to 45. But when they first made this, they made it so these wheels here and were better for being drawn by horses, and then they upgraded to these tires that were better be drawn by light vehicles. Just a little thing to adapt to the Blitzkrieg, and they upgraded the shield because obviously there's guys hanging out, even though this guy's literally hanging out. Pretty cool. But it made it a little bit more armored. So these are all around good guns. They're only range of 160, but it bridges the gap of light artillery, I guess. I like to use these for sniping guys that are entrenched in little foxholes. It's great to be taking them out. Armor is not going to be as good for taking things out because it's not going to be able to penetrate that much. I should have mentioned as well, 6 seconds to reload on this one and these ones. So they're pretty quick to reload, just as fast as the mortar. The League is one of my favorites because it's just a durable little unit. Easily put some HE in there. You can kill some infantry pretty quick. I wouldn't rely on it for actually taking out vehicles. If it gets super close, you can do some damage, but ideally you don't want to be using that. And it's only going to get through like 52 millimeters with the heat, so that's not what you want. It's not going to be able to penetrate most vehicles. Now we're going to move on to the 15 centimeter SIG, which is standard infantry gun, 33 howitzer. This one was light infantry gun. This is what the league stands for. So there's the regular version, and then there's the light version. So the regular version has 15 HE, and the other one has just a 4 like high explosive anti-tank rounds. So just so you guys know, this thing is a very, very big weapon. It's actually a medium weight, so it can be carried by most trucks. But in the war, about 4,600 of these were made from 1927 to 1945. The pros were the super huge shells, but it was very heavy. And when it was used on the Eastern Front, a lot of these were actually abandoned when they had to retreat. So they were not good unless they had supporting vehicles to be able to tow them because they're so big. But as you can see, this thing is a freaking nuke. And it has a range of 210 meters. So I like to use it as direct fire versus tanks. Even in the late war, it's going to outrange all but the heaviest tanks at 210, and you can pretty much disable most enemy tanks with this giant of a weapon. So it's a great direct fire weapon. As far as indirect, it kind of struggles because 210 is not that great. And it has a slow reload. It's going to take 26 seconds to reload as opposed to these guys being 6 seconds. So it's good to have a truck around this to take it away if you need to. That way you won't be dying. Just want to bring out some of the versions that use this as well. They use the SIG. We have the Sturmpanzer 1, which is also called the Bison. We have the good old Grill, which is my personal favorite. And then we have the Stug 33, which these were built purposely for Stalingrad. Not many, I don't think if any saw combat in Stalingrad, but purposely built for Stalingrad. I like to use those because those are pretty cool. Next, we're moving on to the light field artillery. So first up, we have the 10.5 centimeter LEFH light field howitzer 18. So as you can see, these two look very similar. I'll explain the differences real quick. So number one, about 11,800 of these bad boys were produced from 1935 to 45, so all war long. These ones started in 43 to 45, so they're built a little bit later. As you can see, same caliber. They basically had the same performance in the war. However, in the game, this one's going to have 355 meter range, and this one's going to have 370 range. So they're going to carry 20 HE, 5 armor piercing, and 5 heat. So the armor piercing is going to be able to get through at max range of 180, 60 millimeters, which isn't great. But your heat's going to be able to get through a little bit more. So those can be useful. It takes about 16 seconds to reload both of these weapons. So they're very useful artillery. So you can saturate points pretty quickly, and as you can see, 104 can be pretty effective as heat if you can actually hit a target. But so the big difference between these two, minus 355 range and 370 range, is this one is actually a lot heavier. It was kind of like the SIG 33. It was kind of hard to move in a pinch, and same sort of style for the wheels. They got upgraded and actually used this chassis as the similar chassis to the Pack 40. On this one, it was built a lot lighter. So usually pretty much the same performance, but a lot lighter. Easier for the Germans to move, reposition with infantry, and then to move long distances. You could hook it up to a lot easier to hook it up, just to hook it up a truck and unload it. So this was the superior version. And as for Gates of Hell, it's definitely superior because it has a lot more mobility. These were used mainly as divisional artillery by the Germans. Pretty cool little thing. And as you can see, the good old Wesp uses this, which I love to use. This thing's super mobile and very useful little vehicle. Just gotta make sure fire and reposition with all artillery. Next, we're moving on to the heavier howitzers. So first up, we got the 10 centimeter SK-18. So this thing is a bit of a beast. So about 1,400 of these were produced from 1933 to 1945. It was mainly used for counter battery fire. A lot of these bigger ones were used for counter battery. It has a range of 450 meters, which is pretty damn far. Also has it carries 20 HE, and it carries 5 armor piercing, which can get through 151 millimeters, which is pretty sick. It has a range of 210. So if you really need to, if you're in a pinch and you have a heavy vehicle you can't take out, you can move this up to the front line. If you can try to hide it, you could snipe a tank with this, because 151 millimeters, that's getting through pretty much every tank except for the super heavies. So it can snipe a tank if you can hit it, but best off is uses counter battery with that 450 range. Has about 20-second reload, so it's still faster than the SIG. The SIG was 26, so this one's still a good weapon. I do think this one's good for counter battery if you want to use it for counter battery. All right, moving up to the next step. So this one is the good old 15 centimeter SFH18. It's gonna have a little shorter range of 385 meters. About 5,400 of these were produced. This is a standard heavy howitzer that the Germans used. It was used from 1933 to 1945. So it was a bit outclassed towards the late war because it had a little bit shorter range than the Allied artillery, but it was also used for counter battery and just heavy artillery bombardments. Here's about 10 HE, so you're gonna need a supply truck to support it, and it has a reload of about 30 seconds. So these ones are all heavy vehicles. Going to require the heaviest vehicles to tow them. So another fun fact about this one: this is actually the weapon of choice for the Hummel, as you can see. Get the nice 15 centimeter on there. Hummel's a very nice tool for saturation of enemy units after a while. So it's a good little vehicle. I prefer it on the Hummel, but you can use it on either. Next we have the 15.5 centimeter. This is actually a French weapon, GPFK 418 with the F in quotations. But as you can see, this is definitely a French weapon that was used mainly in World War One. It's produced from 1917 to 1940 up until the Germans took over France, and about 800 of these got pushed into German service, mainly used on Atlantic Wall, on some railway cars, and it's just heavy artillery. It has a range of 455, so the longest range artillery that we've got so far. It only carries 10 HE and has a reload of 30 seconds. But this thing holds a special place in my heart because I don't know if you guys played some of the Call of Duty missions, but I remember we had to go knock these ones out. Remember to blow up the barrels or the breaches, I forgot where, but it was pretty sick. So, small world. We haven't fired off one in a while. Let's just fire this bad boy off. Fire you. Let's get you a longer shot since you're a long range bad boys. Can we hit these guys all the way over here? Oh yeah, we can. Oh, bring them over. Bring them on over. Let's kill this barn. So we'll see how accurate this thing is. Obviously, you have to stay on target a lot longer to get more accuracy. Yeah, obviously, just it'll get more accurate as time goes in. But World War One air artillery, not bad overall. Not bad at all. All right, moving on to the big boys. So this one's a 17 centimeter K18. What is it? Mortar Lafayette. So this thing is a freaking beast. As you can see, it's one of the heaviest artillery. They had these special shock systems to absorb the shock of the shootings, which is pretty sick. Only about 338 of these were produced from 1941 to 1945. They're using for major counter battery duels with the Soviet artillery. Also used on the siege of Leningrad and used in the Battle of the Bulge to try to break through. Pretty sick little, or not little weapons, but big weapons. Only is matched by the only weapon that I know matches the range of this, which is 520 meters, is the Soviet 152 millimeter. I don't think the Americans have something that can match this. But this is your ultimate counter battery weapon. Has a reload of 70 seconds, so you're gonna make sure you get a good shot with it. But it is fairly accurate for such a immense beast. Let's see if we can hit between these guys over here. I don't think it's too far. Yeah, oh yeah, it's well within range. But these things are really good for counter battery. You just want to keep them towards the back of their range. Aim at the Allied artillery and just try to. You're only gonna be able to get one round every once in a while, so you're gonna have to be very careful with it. And obviously, at max range, it's gonna have a little bit of scatter. See if we can. Ooh, that was a good hit. Took out the entire bunker. Nice work. But this thing is a bit of a beast, because it can take out enemy artillery from such far away. All right, moving into the 21 centimeter Mortar 18. So this howitzer has a range of only 425 compared to 520. As you can see, the velocity is what makes sense and why it's longer range. So this was really good for accuracy, and it was good for counter battery as well. 711, so about double the number of the 17 centimeters were made of the 21 centimeters. It only carries 5 HE. I guess 1 within the chamber. But this thing is is scary to face for sure. If you get hit by it, it's not going to be a good day. So we'll say this one firing probably at half its range. But obviously, even hitting over there, taking off the roof and everything on injured some infantry around here. This thing is pretty impressive. Has 70-second reload, so that's not ideal. But these big ones, you definitely want to be shooting. I'd probably only shoot once and then move them out of the area with the truck, because I'm not going to risk this thing getting bombed by a plane. Because fun fact, any of these big ones, any of these big four, if you hook them up and you start moving them, even if the airplane's on the edge of the map, you still might not have enough time to get out there. So I would shoot and then get out of there before an airplane gets called in. All right. Alrighty, guys, moving on to the last but not least, we have the rocket artillery. All right, so first off, we have the good old 15-centimeter Nebelwerfer 41. So this one's going to carry, normally it has a crew of 4. About 6,000 of these bad boys were produced. So these ones were actually, all these weapons are pretty good for saturation. They're not the best for accuracy. All 3 of these are super light weapons, so they can be moved around by infantry quite easily and towed by most vehicles. So this thing has enough ammo for 8 volleys. Pretty cool fact. Takes 140 seconds to reload and has a range of 310 meters and carries, as you can see, 6 rockets. See if we can't find somewhere. We're just going to hit this. It's a bad day for this guy to have his house here. As you can see, accuracy is definitely not the strong suit, but anything in the area is getting saturated, which is pretty sick. There's a piece of the building. Actually, didn't even fall over. Pretty sick. But as you can see, these are very good for saturation, taking out big groups of infantry in the open or across a field and whatnot. And also, you can take out multiple vehicles grouped up with this pretty easily. Also note this is the one that's used on the Panzerwerfer, but the Panzerwerfer actually has 10 tubes on here instead of this normal 6 that this one has. Next, we're moving on to the Nebelwerfer, 21-centimeter Nebelwerfer 42. Only has 5 rockets on here. Has a range of 345, so not bad range actually on this one. On 2,500 of these bad boys were produced, 124 seconds to reload. Reloads a little bit quicker because it's got one less rocket, even though they're a little bit heavier. I'm going to aim at these sheds. Where are these sheds at? Yeah, this shed's going to be my target. Man, this thing is a menace to society. Look at that flying. It's super enjoyable to watch these fire, in my opinion. This one only carries enough ammo for 6 volleys, but it can saturate an entire area and just destroy buildings like crazy. Next, we have the monster, the 30-centimeter Nebelwerfer 42. So this thing has only has enough for 4 volleys. Only has a range of 290, so it's actually the shortest range one. But, however, come on, let's aim at this position right here. They're 30-centimeter Nebelwerfers, and there are 6 of them. And this thing, these are like tactical nukes. Other than the freaking 60-centimeter over there, this thing is the biggest beast. All right, these guys are huge shells coming in here. These probably would have killed all these infantry in these trenches. As you can see, they're pretty much filled with dirt now. So, but this weapon is extremely effective. You definitely want to move it as soon as you fire the volley, because it takes 140 seconds to reload like the first one. Only about 700 of these were produced. They were low numbers, but this thing is pretty sick to use. It was actually the same one that was used on the Walking Stuka for the good old, I forgot what tank this is, captured French tank. And then we have the 251 actually had the Walking Stuka. In the game, it says these are 28-centimeter though, so these ones are 30-centimeter. So these ones are 28-centimeter, a little bit smaller. These ones are 30-centimeter. Just for you guys to know. Hope you guys learned something from this artillery guide. Please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more. Check out my other guides as well that are posted, and make sure you guys comment what you'd like to see in the future. I'll catch you guys in the next one.